No, I did not steal these from Apple Park. No, I made them myself. Goodbye, Tim. Goodbye. Sorry, guys. What's up? Sam here. Welcome back to another video. And this, what you're seeing right now, this is the iPhone 14. This is all 4 models this year. No mini. There's more max sizes. There's some design changes. Guys, there's so much to talk about. So if you're excited for this exclusive first look at the iPhone 14, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more, and let's go ahead and take a look at these in depth and even compare it to last year's iPhone 13. All right, so kicking things off here, just like in 2021, there are going to be 4 models of the iPhone 14 in 2022. You've got 2 iPhone 14s, 2 iPhone 14 Pros, but this time they're in the exact same sizes. For the lower end iPhone 14s, there is the 6.1-inch iPhone 14, but then also an all-new 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Max. Yes, this is the one replacing the mini model, and while I was never a fan, I know there's a lot of you that love the mini, but no more mini. Okay, no more mini. That's what Tim says. That's what he told me. And moving on to the iPhone 14 Pros here, you've got the 6.1-inch iPhone 14 Pro and of course the 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Pro Max. So that is the lineup for 2022 for the iPhone 14. And I have to say, after seeing specifically the new max size standard 14 model, dude, this is going to be the most popular model by far. And I believe it's going to be for a few reasons. Number one, it's the first time this size has ever been offered at under $1,000. Like, you're going to be able to get the biggest screen size iPhone, which people always trend to larger screens. You're not going to have to pay $1,100 minimum to get this screen size. It's going to be here on the 14. And just feeling this and seeing the 2 cameras on the back, it just feels right. You're not going to have to pay $1,100 minimum like you've had to on the Pro since the 6.7-inch was introduced. You can get that for now under $1,000. I'm estimating between $850 and $900 for the iPhone 14 Max. And I said there were a lot of reasons that this is going to be the most popular model. Well, it's really just the price in combination with the screen size. I mean, that's why people are going to want to buy this. But as somebody who personally finds the 6.7-inch iPhone still just a little bit too big for myself, I definitely prefer the 6.1-inch screen size. And that's why the normal iPhone 14 is here. Looking at this model in isolation, you might say, hey, that looks an awfully lot like the iPhone 13, but why don't we just bring one in here and look at them side by side? And you'll notice in more ways than one, and in fact in pretty much every way, it's exactly the same looking as last year. On the back, you've got the exact same diagonal camera layout, and comparing these side by side, it doesn't actually look like the camera bump is getting much bigger at all on the iPhone 14, and that's because the camera hardware on the non-Pros is gonna be pretty similar. On the front of the iPhone 14, the exact same notch setup, probably similarly sized bezels, and even the asymmetric speaker grills on the bottom, those are staying. I know, I wish it was symmetrical too. Even the materials are going to be the same. You've got the same aluminum band going around here to hold the chassis together, in addition to the glossy reflective back. From what I can see here in front of me, everything else about the standard, the base iPhone 14, is going to be just like the iPhone 13 from last year. And based on the rumors, that's even going to extend internally. We're going to have the same 12 megapixel camera on here, the same A15 chip from last year, yet for the first time ever, the lower end iPhone 14s are not getting the faster processor. The A16 is only going to be for the Pros. And even the RAM inside is going to go up to 6 gigs, but it's going to be slower and not as efficient as the new updated RAM in the Pros. So it's easy to look at this and say, oh my god, Apple stopped innovation, they're not even trying. I think the flip of this is that the iPhone Pro and non-Pro have been way too similar for so long, and Apple realized that, and they're like, wait, everybody is just always gonna buy the cheaper one if the specs inside are the same. So this year, that's where things start getting different as we move on with the Pros. And right off the bat, I gotta put my iPhone 13 Pro next to this just to give you a scale of how much bigger the camera bump is getting. I thought, right, oh, it'll get a little bit bigger because Apple's putting a 48 megapixel camera on the iPhone 14 Pro. But it's really only when you see these side by side that you're like, oh, that's not just a camera bump, that's a camera hump. And it's hard to tell from these models, but the camera bump is also getting extra depth. I know, remember when we saw these renders of the iPhone 14 that it was gonna have a flush camera? And listen, I'm not actually complaining here, because if it was a flush camera that was the same as last year, or a new 48 megapixel sensor, it's gonna have crazy images, I'm gonna choose the bump all day. It's just fun to experiment and think about what no camera bump would be like. But I don't actually think the camera bump is gonna be what catches everybody's attention when these come out in September. I think it's gonna be the new design on the front of the phone that, yes, looks like the literal letter I, because the notch is going away on the Pros. Instead, there's this pill plus hole design that I have to say does look a little bit odd here, right? It's gonna take a little bit of time to get used to, but I don't hate it or even dislike it that much, because what we're getting in exchange is worth it. We're getting more screen real estate and thinner bezels on here that I'm just gonna say could enable the battery percentage in the status bar. It's not confirmed, but there's a lot of extra space here now. It's obviously a bit hard to see clearly because there is no actual screen on here. It's just a dummy unit, but I don't mind it. Like, I genuinely know there's been a lot of controversy about this, and it's not even out yet. Like, you know it's gonna be rough when people are freaking out when the rumors say it. But guess what? This year, after having it for just a few minutes, I mean, you get used to seeing it, and then you move on. All right, it's gonna be just like the notch. Remember when everybody freaked out about the notch, and now people are like, oh, actually the notch is great, just don't do this design. It's gonna be the same cycle yet again, and I think it's fine, genuinely. And of course, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, pretty much the exact same attributes across the board. A huge camera bump, the new pill plus hole design at the top, and the Pros, of course, made of the more premium materials here. It doesn't look like titanium is coming as the rumors suggested. It looks like the same frosted matte back that I just love, held together by the stainless steel chassis that is, again, super reflective and looks really nice, but is also a fingerprint magnet. Okay, so now that we've gotten through the details, I want to talk about my opinion and my thoughts. Holding these in my hand, how are they? I really love the new Max model. I think it makes so much sense, and I know I said it in this video, I've said it countless times in the past, but that is going to be the model to buy. It is going to be such a good value for what you're getting. Even if it's an older processor, even if it's not the crazy new camera, I still think it's going to be nuts. I will say, as far as looks go on the iPhone 14 though, there's some to be desired still. They just aren't really different looking at all than the 13s, and even the cameras or any other change on here really isn't present. I have a feeling that Apple's probably going to do something with the cameras to try to differentiate these from last year's 13s. And yeah, you could say the same thing broadly about the Pros, but the camera bump is a little bit larger, and the front of the screen, I mean, that's going to look like something we haven't seen not only on any phone before, but on the iPhone. We've only had a notch up until this point, and while a lot of people like to hate on the eye shape, I think it's a big step forward. Is the iPhone 14 a super cycle upgrade? No. It's sounding like that's coming next year, and I hate to be that guy in the video where I'm like, there's something coming next year, because spoiler alert, that's how everything works. There's always a new version. I'm just saying that to add context, that you should set your expectations of moderate design changes and updates year over year from the 13 to the 14, but that it is not the major upgrade. It's not like an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 10 update. But overall, I like them. They feel good. There's nothing that I super strongly dislike. There's also not anything crazy stand out that's got me freaking out about the design. It's a nice little bump up. But hey, those are just my thoughts. What do you think about the iPhone 14 down below? Are you saving up for one? You plan on buying it? Which model are you gonna get? Please, you should get the 14 Max. This thing looks amazing. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you for watching. Subscribe for more. Of course, I cover this all year round. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.